you guys for hopping in. As we stated before, or as I stated before, we have the pStake guys. So go into the chat, say hello. I'll bring them onto the stage shortly. So first, some housekeeping items. So first housekeeping items, as usual. Follow us on our socials. I'm gonna reiterate this all the time. Twitter, uh, Discord, as you guys already hear, and Telegram. There's been an update on the bug bounty launches in terms of the uh, announcements in terms of emails that you guys have been getting. So I've been taking some of the feedback, had some discussions with the team internally in terms of what we're doing. As you saw yesterday, if you followed us or if you're subscribed to our newsletter, we're now pushing it out weekly. So it's not going to be every single launch is going to get its own dedicated email. It's essentially going to be a weekly recap of bug bounty programs that have launched in the past week. So that's going to be ongoing. We'll see how that goes. If you guys want a different format, if you guys want something a little bit, more frequent or less frequent, do let us know your feedback. We always listen to your guys' feedback. So that's important to us. As you know from some of from the last call, that I'll also, I'll reiterate some of the feedback stuff this week as well. Let me. Cool. So here's a few. So last week, or this past week, as usual, if you go into the bug bounty program updates, you can take a look. I just sent a little bit of a link to the specific channel. If you take a look at it, there's been some significant updates from both Pepin and Margarita. They've been posting updates for different projects. If you take a look, the Seasons of Ben Dow has added a whole bunch of new smart contracts for you guys to run through. And then let's see what else we have. We have Morpho also has added to some additional assets and scope. Mars has updated their scopes. And Autonolas has added some POC requirements. But as usual, come here to essentially get the most up-to-date changes on all the bounty programs that are released on Immunify. Prior to this, you guys were kind of just at your own mercy in terms of trying to figure out which bug bounty programs were being updated, if something was updated, if something was not updated. In this case, we try to keep everything all in one central location, so you can take a look at what's being updated and what's recent and what's being removed and added. So hopefully this is a channel that you guys find super helpful. Let's see what else we got. In terms of new bug bounties, so last week we have 2 new bug bounties launched. You can see that in the new bug bounty channel. So I'll throw that in there too. New bug bounties. And so the last 2 that launched last week were Stater for BNB, and then as well as pStake. And like I said, I'll introduce the pStake guys in just a little bit. So as usual, in the event channel, feel free to hop in with any questions, feedback, things you want to discuss. The floor is as always is always yours. Any questions or resources that you guys are looking for, throw it up in the chat. And yeah, I mean, to get into some interesting things that have happened in the past week since we've last spoke. There's 2 things that kind of caught my eye. There wasn't anything big in terms of exploits. There kind of was one, which was the Akala exploit. So I'll share this link for you guys here. So this is the Akala exploit, where essentially 1.2 billion AUSD was minted, and it essentially depegged the stablecoin. So they had to freeze both the token and the network. So that was interesting. That was something that I kept an eye on just the other day. And then one of the other big ones too, which I'm not really too surprised about. I'm pretty sure it goes on with a majority of these big corporate crypto companies, which is basically there's speculation of insider trading within Coinbase. Honestly, like with big organizations like that, I'm honestly not really too surprised if this happens. I know they had an issue with OpenSea as well with one of their team members. So it's just one of those things where obviously the team policies are there's no tolerance for these things, but they do happen on the back end. So it's I think it's also kind of interesting how this is kind of coming up now. I honestly would have suspected it to happen or be happening in the past as well, but just some interesting news that have popped up on my radar. Let's see. So before I get pStake on here, let's see what we got. Ladboy233, first hacker hangout. Awesome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're in the right place, that's for sure. Nuko Nam, I'm doing awesome today. Trust, regarding the bug bounty program updates, I would also appreciate, yes. Okay, cool. You would appreciate if delisted programs could also be communicated over there. Perfect. Yeah. So usually delisted programs also get removed from the Explore page. But if you want a notification there, we will go ahead and do that as well. So again, like any questions that you guys have, throw them in the chat. For now, I will go ahead and invite the pStake boys up onto the call to chat. Looking for the other, there you go. So invited you guys to speak. So just we'll make it fairly quick on this one, but here's what I'll essentially have you guys do is give a quick introduction of yourselves, your backgrounds, give a quick intro about pStake, and then what's essentially expected from, and essentially what you guys are looking for your bug bounty program. So I'll give you the floor for the next few minutes as you have the full audience as you guys take the stage.
Thanks, Chris, for inviting us to the Hacker Hangout. This is Mayank. I lead the pStake product for the BNB chain. So we are a liquid staking product. We started with the Cosmos ecosystem, have been part of the Cosmos ecosystem for the past 3-4 years, and have been building there. And quite interested in the POS ecosystem, and through that we got interested in liquid staking, and that's where pStake started. We started with building a liquid staking solution for Cosmos, and then for our own persistence chain, which is our parent organization. After that, we have recently launched a liquid staking product for Ethereum, and now for the Binance chain, which went live about 1.5 weeks ago. We are also building solutions for Solana and Avalanche, and we'll be looking to build solutions across all POS chains. So that's our goal in the long run, to make liquid staking synonymous with normal staking, and that's what we aim for. So coming to the product at hand, we have the Binance liquid staking product that we have launched the bug bounty program for, and so the product has had a pretty amazing launch, and we had almost 4 million in TVL within the first week, and that's a pretty big amount given the market, and we are really excited about the product. So really amazing to partner with Immunify here, because we want to we take security very seriously. We have had audits from Halborn and Pixel both, and also have on-chain tracking with Forta, have partnered with Sartora for a formal verification, which is also going on. So we want we want the hackers to go through all the different code bases, which is completely public from our end, and point out any and all of the issues that you might find. And uh, so a little background about me. I come from India, and currently based out in Dubai. Have done my undergrads and postgrads from some of the biggest colleges in India, and now got into crypto about a year and a half ago, and really got excited about liquid staking, and have been building this product. We have been building this product for the past 5-6 months, and finally got it live. I also have Abhimanyu with me, who is the product lead for the STKBNB product. Will request Abhimanyu to also introduce himself. Abhimanyu, you are not audible.
Oh, looks like we're having an audio issue there. It's okay. If you want, you can introduce yourself in the chat. But yeah, appreciate you guys hopping up on stage to talk a little bit about your project, where you guys currently are, and what you guys are looking for in the bug bounty program. Just want to, if you want, you can stay on stage, or if you want, you can head back into the audience. I'll leave that up to you guys. But as usual, for anyone that has any questions for pStake, for the pStake boys, throw them in the chat, and then we'll field them as we get them. And then you can, and then, or they can answer them in the chat if I'm answering something else. But they're hanging around today, so do take advantage of them being in this chat. Maybe they'll drop some alpha about their project. Maybe they'll maybe they'll help you out in terms of some of the things that they're looking for in their bug bounty program, or anything that they want to be highlighted. So yeah, and then as usual, our regular programming is always in play. You guys are always free to ask any questions, ask for any feedback. The floor is yours. You guys want any resources, let me know. The floor is the floor is yours. Let us know what you want to discuss. Awesome. So we got a question now from Trust to pStake. So they're asking, it's interesting that in the past month, other BNB liquid staking programs have launched. For example, Anchor and Stater. Wants to know what makes your project unique. So if you guys want to take the floor there, feel free to answer that.
Yeah, this is a pretty interesting question because there have been multiple launches recently in the BNB ecosystem, and this is one of the ecosystem where the liquid staking was not very prominent. The staking ratio was pretty less, around 15-20% when we entered, and that has interested multiple projects. What differentiates us is, firstly, we focus on security very much, and that's why we have gone with the best auditing platforms, and best all the best protocols which are related to security in the ecosystem. We have associated with them. So that's one of our prime things that separates us. Second is, on the integration side, we have gone heavy with the biggest protocols in the Binance ecosystem. Again, we have partnered with PancakeSwap and Alpaca and Beefy. All these partnerships are already live, and we are looking to partner with all other major protocols in the ecosystem, so that the actual goal of liquid staking, which is people can stake, but at the same time people can use DeFi. So we want to give the best product out there in the market, which can then also enable DeFi solutions to the users. And I guess that's what differentiates us in the most prominent way, because I would say when it comes to developing the product, the mechanism that is used is quite similar across different products. I would not say that any product would differentiate from anyone else in that way. It's just about the enabling the security aspect and as well as the DeFi aspect for people that where we have tried to differentiate ourselves from the other products. Yeah. Does that answer the question?
Seems like it. He said thank you for your answer. Um, just writing something in here. So again, also taking questions that are not pStake related. I know there's a few of you guys that are in here for the first time. So you guys have any questions? So Lad Boy, I know you're new here. If you've gotten a question in terms of resources or general process, let us know. So cool. Another question for pStake. So from Pseudo Rich. So he wrote, "How do you feel about us hackers trying to break your contract?"
Yeah, so I think that's the only reason for which we have launched the bug bounty program, so that we our contracts are secure, and if there are some issues there that gets pointed out while the TVL is still low, and the white hat hackers who point it out, they also get rewarded in the process. So we are really happy, and we'll be going through anything and everything that is raised by the community very seriously, and we are tracking all the issues that are currently being raised. There have been a few, but they are not they are not I guess they do not affect the contracts as such, and so we are not taking them forward, but looking forward to anything that is critical, both on the contract end and on the web app end, so that we can flush these issues out if there are any very quickly, while we are still holding a very low TVL at the moment. So that's our goal for the and invite everyone to look into our code and point out anything and everything that you can find.
Awesome. I think that's the good a good the spirit, and that's the way to approach it. Is even though you guys have gone through a bunch of these audits, um, hold on. As much as the you guys have gone through the audits, so security is always something that's dynamic. So things are always changing within the ecosystem. So being open to essentially hackers trying to break things is probably the best way to do it, because you're essentially being proactive about your security and not reactive. It's usually the projects that are reactive that end up, uh, you know, paying in the long run, not just financially, but also on the reputation side and things like that. So trust. There's a follow up in your to your question. So they have said that they've got a distinct validator selection aimed at higher APYs, and also aiming to decentralize the delegation mechanism in their V2. So that's essentially one of the additions to making it distinct. Um, so again, let's see. I have Hard Dick as someone. You have your hand raised, so not sure if you want to speak, but I'm inviting you onto the stage. Feel free to
Hey,
say what you need
I'm
to say.
audible?
I got you.
Hey, I'm audible?
You're here. We can hear you.
Yeah, yeah, thanks. So, actually, we are building decentralized payment for the payment system for the content creators. Yeah, so, and we also apply for the collaborate with the Immensify and so many companies for the bug bounty programs. And it start in the, I think maybe in September 8 or September 11. So, and we are building like payment system for the content creators, and but it is in Solana. So yeah,
Got you, got you. So yeah, I mean, if you want to throw a quick summary in the
Okay,
chat,
yeah,
that'd be awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, because
correct,
like
correct.
yeah, no worries. Usually like these are it's not really like a promo style thing. It was just like something where pStake has launched a bug bounty with us and we're just allowing them to field questions from the white hats. So you could do the same. If I know you guys are launching in the next few weeks. So
Yeah,
that'd be awesome too. So
yeah,
yeah,
on the yeah, you
yeah,
mentioned
just a
that.
quick summary in the chat.
Yeah, yeah,
And then you can field any questions there as well, and I'll bring them on as well also. Okay, cool. So for the pStake team, got a question via DM, which is basically, did you guys find any bugs or vulnerabilities when you were close to deploying on mainnet? And if so, how did you guys deal with it?
Uh, we did not find anything major, so we had two audits. One was by Pexid, which happened almost 2 months ago now, and then Halborn, which happened just before the launch. And in both the audits, no major bugs were found. There were a few recommendations which were small ones, and we fixed them right away. But For example, one was about uh, deploying so we had deployed one multisig as the admin, but the pointer was to deploy multiple multisigs. So we now have two multisigs in place to for the admin contract. This was suggested for the case where the in some emergency the people who are required to verify the first multisig are not available. So this is one of the things that we came about. Abhimanyu will be able to talk about the other issues that were raised, and I guess he has some audio issues, so he will be replying in the chat itself. uh, but request Abhimanyu to kind of share what the other issues were. But to confirm, there were nothing major on that were found out during the two audits that we had. And similarly, also during a Sartora formal verification, that's still ongoing, but till now, nothing major has been pointed out there also.
Got you. Awesome. Yeah, that's a great response. Um, cool. Let's see what else we got here. Actually, before we hop into some other questions, I do want to reiterate this is something that we did last week, and I know some of you are still waiting on a response. But I also want to share this with you. I'm going to share it with you guys in the chat, which is we are taking feedback for a survey, feedback from you guys in a survey form. You guys will get will be eligible to win an Immunify swag pack. Those are the ones that give us the best feedback. So if you haven't filled it out yet, please fill it out. If you have already, thank you so much. All the responses are currently being read. We got a huge influx of people that responded. So again, if you have already filled it out, that's a thank you. If not, please fill this out. So that's essentially for you guys to give us feedback in terms of what you guys want to see, what you guys like, what you guys don't like. As usual, the guys that are essentially the guys, I would say the people that give us the best feedback, will be sending you Immunify swag packs. So they're pretty sweet. Let's see. So Seko wrote, I started hacking on multiple platforms like HTB, THM, Portswigger, but I fell in love with blockchain and smart contracts. So I wonder how to jump the gap between CTFs and training platforms to getting the first bug. Ooh, that's a really good question. That's a great question. I think so. As I've listened to a lot of speakers that have been on our Hacker Hangout, as well as people within the community that have sent me DMs, I think the best way to really jump the gap is really to just get started. So a lot of people, they gravitate towards the number. They see those $1 million, $500,000 criticals, and they go straight for those. Honestly, the way, or at least my approach would be, or the approach that seems to work or that is recommended, is really number one, to really get familiar with the types of exploits that are happening. So, for example, going on the Immunify blog and seeing some of the different postmortems that we're posting up, or even going in these channels that we have, for example, bug fix reviews or learn blockchain hacking, which are two channels within the Immunify server, that essentially give you more insight, or even going on Twitter and searching for hashtag Immunify School. The tools that we share, things that are interesting that we share, that are good learning points for people within the community, are great points to solidifying your skill set, but also getting you closer to that first bug. So the way that I've seen it is, or at least that is recommended, is not that just to take a look at the criticals, but also some of the high or medium or even low vulnerabilities, and going after those, because that essentially gets your foot into the door. That builds some confidence, builds some momentum in terms of your process and your progress. And then again, don't overlook some of the smaller bounties too. Bounties that are like offering like 20,000 or 40,000. Some of the more competitive ones are the ones with the higher critical rewards. So again, like, maybe it might be best to start small and then build your way up. But again, we have a ton of resources to even get your skill set refined, to allow you to learn things that are missing from your toolkit. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully that gives you some insight there. Don't be too intimidated by the big numbers or the criticals. Start somewhere small and manageable, something where you have some confidence. You have some place to actually build some confidence. Sometimes people do get lucky when they look at criticals. I wouldn't say luck, but they have the eye and they actually catch one. But again, it's really up to you. But I think the recommendation is to take a look at some of the past postmortems and the fixes that were done, and then moving into for example, and then moving into something that's small and manageable, something that would essentially give you momentum into finding a critical. Cool, awesome. Okay, so Nuko Nam asked that question. Thank you for you guys for hopping in. So nothing is making you guys nervous, which is good. But yeah, that's right. It is hopefully. Getting these guys onto your smart contracts makes you guys a little bit nervous, but in a good way. Awesome. Yeah, appreciate you guys for pStake for sending out their security audits and other initiatives that they have documented. But as usual, as you guys know, I want to reiterate the survey. Please fill out that survey. We have been actually reading every single submission that is being submitted, and a lot of it is being taken into account. So yeah, so we've got a lot to read. We got a lot of submissions, but we're looking to see, if you guys haven't filled it out, please fill it out. If you have filled it out, thank you so much. And again, we will keep you guys updated, and we will reach out to the ones that have that are eligible for the Immunify swag pack. Ladboy wrote, "How does KYC work?" I guess for the project. Okay, so in terms of KYC. I know basically it'd be using Deal, DEEL as payment distribution. So it would essentially be the details needed to fill out a profile there. So if I'm not mistaken, uh, yeah, so actually, I won't speak because I don't remember the exact setup process. But essentially, it would be if a KYC is required. Yeah, exactly. So Pepin kind of just answered that in terms of with the project, it's usually invoices. If it's yeah, in terms of what it is, it is who you are. So I don't think it goes too deep. I think it just takes like, for example, like payment information, and your current location. That's really it. I think that's really probably a few other things that I'm forgetting, but hopefully that answers your question. Awesome. So yeah, so we got still have a ton of time left, and we can definitely answer any more questions that you guys have available. Um, don't be shy. Don't be shy. This community. And I know a lot of you, like I've spoken to a lot of you guys. You guys are kind of like stay under the radar, but don't be shy when you guys are asking questions. The community is actually very, very helpful, and it's actually it would be a mistake not to leverage some of the knowledge that's floating around here. There's I know that, let's take a look at the audience in terms of some of the high level people. There are some new faces, but there are also a lot of people that I know that uh, can really go into deep detail in terms of what you guys are asking. Um, cool. So we got two more questions for pStake. First one is, do you guys have proxies to upgrade the contracts just in case a bug is found, or will you need to shut down the system and upload a new contract?
Yeah, so our contracts are upgradable in nature, so we will be able to upgrade unless there is something really critical that needs us to shut it down and then upgrade it completely. So my answer would be that it depends on the situation and the kind of bug that is found. But for most cases, will not be shutting down the system will not be needed.
Got you. And then also another pStake question. Oh, actually no. Not pStake question. I'm sorry. So Trust has a question. Has there been a change in the payout policy, saying that if a project fixes an out of scope bug, they must pay the white hat? Because it really is important. Because it is a really important way to show appreciation for white hats. So here's the thing: is you're always free to submit something that's out of scope to a project. Usually, if it's something that is um, critical or something that has a high vulnerability, usually the payout is essentially discussed between the white hat yourself and the project, in terms of whether or not the out of scope bug that you found is valid. But usually, um, I'm not exactly sure what the payout policy is for out of scope bugs. But I know there is usually a discussion between the white hat and the project, about the severity and then also the amount as well, since it's not essentially defined as a direct impact. Nuko Nam, DeFi hack loop. Let's do it. I'm in. I mean, that is. I guess it's. I mean, that it has been happening. So that's kind of like an MO to some of the scam projects within the crypto space, not even just DeFi in general. Um, Usually, where there's an idea, and then there's some sort of software or some sort of buzzword that makes it sound super fancy, marketing around that buzzword, and then lack of any audits or lack of any look into the code, or even sometimes the code is private, so you can't even take a look at it. But yeah, I mean that's essentially some of the. I mean, you basically put out like the quick 101 of crypto scam projects, really. Interesting. So Seko has a very interesting question. Oh, this is a great question too. This is for all the white hats in the audience. Um, I'm the only one who feels. Am I the only one who feels alone and overwhelmed and frustrated? And if you guys do it as well, how do you guys handle that frustration? Both in bug hunting and at work. His mentality is he usually thinks he's never good enough. So this is a very this is a great question. It's a loaded question, but it's great because I think because this goes back to one of our first hacker hangouts when we had Sam CZ on the call, and he was talking about mentality and how he approaches bug bounties. And this is something that's interesting too. It might be something where we start talking to more white hats and releasing more interviews with white hats because that's something that is a process that normally never gets covered. But in terms of just frustration and being overwhelmed, I mean, according to Sam, a lot of it has to do with environment as well. Being able to put yourself in a place that's comfortable and an environment that's not too stressful. And the way that I guess the mentality that I've come across is just the putting pressure on yourself to find, for example, like a critical. It's like I gotta find the critical or nothing else. Again, like you don't need to discount the lower severity vulnerabilities, um, but and so like don't put too much pressure on yourself. And I get it too. There's other activities to help take a break. Like always take a breather. Take a step away. Sometimes taking a step away helps with your mentality. As Nuko Namro, working out and then taking out a lot of naps. Lad Boy wrote music. Those are things that's good too. It's just about keeping yourself in a positive mentality, and as well as an air of confidence to the things that you're doing. I mean, it's easy because again, like this is something number one, not everybody's doing. It's not so easy to find a critical bug or a high, or even like it's not so easy to find to find bugs. If it was, everybody'd be doing it. So you're actually in small company. So honestly, the way I look at it is like I wouldn't take a look at it as being alone. I mean, you're in this chat. Look, I mean, this community is growing every single day and every single week. If you don't feel or if you need someone to talk to, or if you need someone to talk about some of the processes or things that you've run into walls in, or any blockers that you have, you always have this community to reach out to, and someone will help you out. If you need someone to talk to, or even someone to point you in the right direction, send me a DM. I'm always free to answer any questions, not just on these hacker hangouts, but after these as well. I mean, after this event, after these events, I get DMs from a lot of you guys as well, asking for who to speak to about certain things. Where can I find a resource on this? And I answer them when I have time. So don't feel like you're alone. And with your being overwhelmed and frustrated, sometimes it helps to take a step away. um yeah, it definitely makes sense. Like you're working all day, coming back, and then working on a bug bounty. Yeah. So Pepin put together has a great article that he shared. But yeah, I mean, like you take, like I said, it's a mistake not to take advantage of this community. And I've said it multiple times before, is like the amount of knowledge that's just floating around. um if you stay silent, you kind of have to climb out of your own hole by yourself. But why not get an advantage, and that someone that has probably, I mean, again, like you're not probably the only one that's not these issues. So someone's probably found a solution to what you're looking for. If you spending time to look for it, why not just ask the community? And I'm sure someone will be able to help you out. But again, like anytime you need a point in the right direction, send myself or Pep in a DM or even ask the community. But I don't think having that negative mentality of thinking you're not good enough is correct. I think you are good enough. You're already in the right space. You're already doing something that not a very, very small percentage of people are actually doing. A very small percentage of people are actually taking steps to be good at. So I think you're in the right company, and I think you're headed in the right direction. And hey, you're sitting here listening to me ramble on, so you know I think you're in the right space. I'm pretty sure you're in the right space. Mookin, I guess that's how you Mookin. Just a question of reaction, but how does the team deal with all the sometimes unnecessary complaints? I always see a lot of new people complaining over something that can be solved by just being patient. And as this field is relatively new, we just take it in stride. I mean, there's some of these complaints are valid. Some of them are just small things. So we do take a lot of things under consideration. All the major ones, of course. Anything that's small and trivial, we'll take a look to see if it's a common theme across the white hats. But if not, honestly, we do take everything. We do read a lot of the stuff that comes through the Discord and that comes through our help desk. So it's not as if just because you sent the message and you don't get a response, it goes unchecked. Always follow up if you need. But yeah, in terms of unnecessary complaints, you just got to take it in stride because again, sometimes like the feedback is helpful. Helpful to us in terms of providing a better experience for you guys. I have had an experience with a project silently fixed the issue and did not even reopen the report, so there's no discussion to be had. Trust, I would probably send a ticket and go from there because that is something that if you've already submitted a submission and they fixed it without even communicating that to you, please reach out to us on our Zendesk and file a ticket for us, and we'll help you investigate that. Let's see what we got. Exactly. Awesome. So we still have the pStake guys in the chat. Appreciate them hopping in here. So thanks for hopping on stage, guys. Yeah, Nuko Nam. There's some really good advice in here. Seko, there's some good advice. Again, step by step. And yeah, a critical could definitely change everything about your life. But again, like if you're already here and you've already taken the steps to be here, you're in the right space, and you're probably not the only one that's balancing full-time work with bug hunting. I'm pretty sure there's a whole bunch of the guys that are in here that are doing the same thing, that are balancing school and bug hunting, work and bug hunting, work, family, outside activities and bug hunting. So you're definitely not alone. I'll tell you that. That's for sure. Have to remain calm. What happens if I go crazy on these calls? You guys won't come back. And then I'll be alone on here. We don't want that. Oh, nice. Yeah. I'm glad to have you. I'm glad to have you on here. Like I say, I always enjoy having these hangouts. It's funny because last night I only had 3 hours of sleep, but getting on these calls gives me a different type of energy. Like I always like speaking with you guys. I always love interacting, answering your questions, and sometimes it gets a little rowdy in here, but I love it. I love being here with you guys. Yeah, as usual, I know we got a few minutes left. Again, ask any questions. I'll keep this open as long as you guys need it. But feel if you haven't already, fill out that feedback survey that I posted above. Uh, you know, be eligible, get that Immunify swag. Give us some good feedback. Give us your good, honest feedback. And just let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you want to see. Like I said, we've read every single one. There's been a ton of submissions. I since last week till now, I haven't even finished reading all the submissions. I'll tell you that as well. Yeah, for sure, for sure. We'll try and get other blockchain security platforms. I think one of the bigger requests that I've kind of struggled with is trying to essentially get a white hat to actually hop on for an hour to chat with you guys. I've been doing my best and also trying to accommodate to their schedule, because I know there's been some questions in terms of, being able to dig deep into a white hat's mind, someone that's found a critical, and so yeah, so I'm still working on that. Hopefully, I can get one to you guys soon. So I apologize for that, but believe me when I say everybody that I've been pinging has not outright accepted my offer. Yeah, exactly. Someone that's finding it critical is having a vacation at the beach. They're probably just chilling right now, enjoying their time off. But again, some of these guys just, like I said, we've got, so I wouldn't get too discouraged. So some of these guys they might not even having, they might not even have a vacation at the beach. I know some of the guys that have found vulnerabilities or criticals are high school students or even college students. So even though they had that done, they're back in school trying to finish up and grab the degree. So it's not necessarily, instant retirement. Exactly. Age doesn't matter in crypto. We had this discussion with Giannis a few months back. So he considers himself the old guy in this bug hunting world, because he's like, yeah, everybody I talk to is half my age or a third of my age. But I told him age doesn't really, like, honestly, crypto doesn't discriminate against your age. Like, if you can find a bug vulnerability, it doesn't matter if you're 10 or 16 or 18 or like 20 or even like 40 or 60. If you can do it, you can do it. It would be sick to do a live bug bounty with a white hat through the process of finding a vulnerability for newbies and pros to see how you can find low-hanging fruit and follow along the thought process. Pepin, I thought we had one. Let me see if I can find it. It might be on our YouTube. Uh, let's see. I'm gonna mute myself just in case. Yeah, I think we have a recorded one. Give me 1 second. So yeah, uh Haruks. Haruks, I think that's how you say your name. So I got one that we recorded May of 2021. So it's about a year and a little bit old. But this is basically one of the first. I don't even know if we did anyone after this, but we basically did a live stream community DeFi bug hunt. So this would be, I guess, a good starting point. If you want another one of these, let me see if I can. I'll talk with the team to see if we can put another one of these together. Again, it just takes a long time. This video is like 2.5 hours long, so I don't know if you want to sit through another 2.5 hour thing, but it might be interesting for you guys. So Seko, you wrote, has anyone found a critical recently? How does it feel? What was your reaction? I guess this was is geared towards the crowd. That's all you guys. I haven't found anything, so I'm out of that loop. But yeah, if you guys have found a critical or a high or a medium or anything, um, you know, let Seko know how that how your emotions or reactions were. I mean, I can definitely tell you, based on my conversations with some of the white hats that we've had on stage, as well as some of the auditors that we've had on stage. So the initial part is obviously you get that euphoria and you get that excitement, but then it comes down to where you come down to earth real fast because you have to verify that bug. But there's still that level of excitement. I think Sam says for I think I don't remember which one, but one of the bugs he didn't sleep for 2 days because he was essentially trying to verify that and create his test environments. So it's kind of that rush of excitement and adrenaline that drives you. Hopefully up until the end of when you get it verified, when you get it submitted, when you actually test the POC. So yeah. Yeah, so yeah, exactly. Writing the POC is hard and tricky. Yeah, and Harooks, you do want to let them know that you do want to let them know as fast as possible. But also, one of the things too is the quality of your submission too, and incorporating all the details as you possibly can. So details, processes, the whys of why their stuff is broken or is important. So it's not just timing, and that was the mistake that I misspoke the last time. I just said you want to do it. It's like a game of time of trying to be first. But yeah, be first. But it's also the first person that comes together with a quality submission. So something that's well thought out, well written. Otherwise, like if it's not, if it's just a watered down process. It doesn't give too much details. It ends up becoming a longer process in terms of verifying the submission, and then out until the payout to you as a bug bounty. Yeah. So Nuko Nam, put together just shared Sam's blog, which is great. I don't think he's been writing on it recently, but he used to be pretty good. But it kind of gives you a good idea in terms of mentality and some of his processes as well. So really good resource there. Okay. Any more questions or comments? I know we're coming up on our hour here, so I want to be respectful of your time, but also make sure that I answer everything that needs to be answered. Throw it in the chat for. I'll give you guys a last call for comments, feedback. No, man, that's what we're here for, Seko. That's what the community is here for. Like I said, it's a mistake not to take advantage of all the knowledge that's floating around the community. Like like we have team members that are in and out of Discord. So if you need more, intel in terms of what happens on the Immunify side, you got that, and then we have a lot of smart minds. I mean, every once in a while, Sam CZ pops up here and there. We got Daniel VF that hops in every once in a while. We got some big name hackers that float around, and even some of our white hat scholars as well. So if you're interested in the white hat scholarship, send myself or Pepin a DM. But yeah, I mean it's always fun. Like I said, it's fun because everybody is essentially trying to help each other out. I mean, you're in a small company. This isn't like Web2 pen testing where you got a ton of people that are out there, a ton of organizations. It's that you're actually in small, limited company. So everybody has gone through almost a similar experience that you've experienced in terms of feelings, approaches, processes. Everybody has their own way, but we're kind of all doing this together. Lad Boy, White Hat Scholarship. So essentially, White Hat Scholarship is something that we run. So you apply to it, and essentially we pay you to hunt bugs, but we essentially pay you because we want to incentivize more people to become more full-time white hat bug bounty hunters. So essentially, we can. So Pepin just shared the article with you, but essentially, like we give you I believe it's a monthly stipend, and essentially pay you to hunt bugs for some. I actually have no idea how many people are currently in the scholarship. So Pepin, if you know, I don't know actually. I know when I first got here it was small. I believe it was like 6 or 8 people. I mean that was the first tranche too. I don't know how many people have been currently being onboarded. Is there any team in bug bounty hunting? Do you work alone or do you work with friends? I do know there's teams. One of the like so an example, a perfect example would be auditors. They work in teams. For example, Giannis and his team at DDoB work in teams. Usually they do it individually. So they'll look for bugs individually. When they find across when they find an exploit, they bring it across the team, and then everybody analyzes it as a team. And then they kind of go about their process there. But essentially, there are people that work alone. There are people that work in teams. So it really depends on how best you work. Yeah, exactly. So there are big teams. There are also small teams as well. There are also people that work alone, or people that just do it on the side. Cool. So we came up on this hour. I'll give you the one last call for questions. If not, fill out that feedback survey that I posted above. Where did I put it? I'll put the link back here. I'm just gonna write, fill this out. Fill this out if you haven't already. Is there any good certifications about blockchain or smart contract? All right, so certifications. Is it a bad thing? No. Is it helpful? Yes. Is it required? No. So in that case, like I don't know any certifications that would put you on. I mean, unless you need it for like a job. Usually auditors are like auditing companies too. Like we know we had Chain Security a few months back, and they didn't require certifications. The body of work basically spoke the loudest. The body of work is and your efficiency, and then your level of detail spoke the loudest in terms of being able to in terms of being able to be recruited onto that team. When swag bag? I don't know. I'll talk to Ivan. I know there's a few of us that haven't even gotten through the full responses yet, but it'll be but I'll let you know about swag bag, guys. Once I get a heads up. Again, we're still running through all the responses. There's a lot. The future is here, exactly. Well, you're at the forefront. If you're already in crypto and Web3, and especially on the security side, you are definitely at the front of that line. That's for sure. And like I said, we're all in we're basically a minority here. There's not a whole lot of people that are in Web3 security. And then so it's even smaller than the amount of people that are in crypto. Everybody can say they're in crypto, but the amount of people that say they do bug bounties for smart contracts and projects both in DeFi and NFTs or in the crypto space in general, such a small population. Such a small population. You can't look for bugs if your brain doesn't work without the Immunify hat. It doesn't get warmed up properly. That's good. That's good. Yeah, for sure. I mean, send us the feedback. and then I'll see what I can do for you guys. But the best feedback is the best. The best. The guys that give us the best feedback will be getting the swag packs. Um, my advice: having just 2 months experience practicing web to see the house. Yep, yep, yep. No. Does Web 2 security help transition into Web 3, or are they really different? That's a good question. We've had a lot of people on here, not on stage, but in the audience that have gone from Web 2 security to Web 3 security. I'm not sure how different it is specifically, but they have told me that the competition is less. Um, gosh. Oh gosh, don't brute force the feedback, please. Don't let's let's do this legit. Um but anyways, yeah, so cool. If you guys don't have any other questions, I'll close it out like I said, Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. The methodology is almost the same. Well, I guess it makes sense. I guess it makes sense that the methodology is pretty much very similar. Um, so let me see what do we got here. Yep, awesome. Cool. So I will go ahead and close this out. I'll still be active in the chat with you guys. I know Seko, you asked about common methodology and first steps. I'll highlight that real quick. Usually there's, in terms of methodology for some of the white hats that I've has spoken to, there's usually a recon period, as ETH Hacker has spoke about. It's very light. It's just so I know DDoB uses a software. Some people just go browse a specific section. Some people browse the code line by line. But the initial step is basically a light look at the code, nothing too heavy. To see if anything that catches their eye. If it catches their eye, then they set it aside and they start taking a deeper look at it, either line by line or or testing out the code and the logic. So that's kind of just a high level look, but that's kind of how like the general high level process is. As far as like getting down into the weeds, that's a different story. Probably have to ask somebody with a little bit more experience than myself. But cool. On that note, I will close this out. And thank you guys for hopping on. If you haven't filled out that feedback survey, fill out that feedback survey, please. If not, we will see you guys next week. So thank you guys so much for hopping in as usual. And yeah, continue the chat in the event channel. I'll be active there as well. But thank you guys again.